I'll say at least as of right now, things are looking pretty good for Clown. I've mentioned before, out of the Dark Stars, the one that I have had the most interest in since they were revealed has been Clown. I like his design. I think he just looks really interesting, really cool. He's like a space robot Pennywise, and I just think that is by itself a very intriguing set for this character. I also really like the times where we see the little, video game like dialogue box around his, anytime he talks. I wish we got more of that instead of like the regular one, because I like that one way more. I like the narration version way more than just kind of him going about, a normal speech bubble. Just because it was neat. It made him seem a little bit more fun. But when the chapter begins, also because I didn't make the last chapter in time. I procrastinated too much. And like essentially, TLDR, we had the whole reveal that Shiki was only using 10% of his power against Wizard, which I think makes sense. At the end of the day, Shiki is one of the Galactica. Wizard is a minion of the Galactica. I saw that similar setup. Like, I assume, Ziggy should be, Galactica level. I feel like even though he looked like he was going to lose to Elsie, he should still be within that general range. So his minions, and though Shiki's crew aren't his minions, you understand what I mean by, people of direct line in, not serving, because it's kind of hard with Shiki just because of the wording, but kind of like aligned, I guess, under one of the Galactica members, and obviously being very strong themselves. It's like, okay, I can see the Dark Stars being fights for them, but I do not see any of the Dark Stars being fight for Shiki, especially now after the time skip. And we know that Shiki, even months ago, was almost on par with Elsie. So Wizard having absorbed his overdrive was the only way in my head that I thought there'd be a fight, but then the whole 10% only reveal was like, okay, I understand that. I am kind of confused though, because there was that reveal in this chapter by Clown that the Dark Stars have some form of ability called Overclock. I'm guessing that's their kind of a robot version of overdrive, because we know they don't inherently use ether gear. They have their own thing. So Overclock I'm guessing, is just kind of like, a boosted form of whatever they have, advancing all their abilities kind of thing. This is obviously up the wording Overclock too. But I mean, it's like, why did Wizard not use? Like, I don't think this counted. Maybe this counts as like his Overclock. It's like maybe they absorb ether and then the Overclock is that advanced form. I'd be fine with that, because like right now, if he had something else as like some form of bigger upgrade, and he didn't use it, that's gonna be really unfortunate for him, unless he gets back up. Maybe like the whole Overclock thing, as I mentioned, so Wizard can get back up and have some form of upgrade. And that way, like, him versus Shiki will be more understandable than just like Wizard for some reason being crazy powerful by himself. I kind of was all right with him, we did get him just enough to give Shiki like an okay fight, even with his overdrive and stuff, because like, well, he's still supposed to be the leader of the team, so I figured he would be, the most significant. There's also the fact that we have the stuff with him and apparently which in the past is, actual living people, not machines. So it's like he has lore importance too. Outside of that, we see a little back and forth between him and Shiki. There's like dialogue about what's going on with Ziggy, and he says like could there be a possibility that something happened to Ziggy's memories and stuff a while back and whatnot. But it's more towards, at least for me, saying that it's the opposite. The nicer Ziggy is one that lost his memories, and I've thought that for a while. I figured the thing that would make sense, especially given off his design, little Demon King title, and his power being Satan, gravity, and everything. Like, yeah, obviously way more of a malefic design setup. If he was a bad guy that for whatever reason became a good guy for whatever it is, messing with his programming, maybe his memories were altered. Like, imagine like maybe he used to be a good guy a long time ago, and then he became a bad guy. But because of Shiki's ability, like pulling in the memories, maybe he that's not inherently just a Satan gravity thing. Maybe it's more of a Shiki thing. And it like pulled all those memories and brought him to like that state. Or maybe Shiki did something that made him that way. Or an event happened before Witch and Wizard, became the robots version of themselves that led up to that. Like, we know that he's like allegedly, like, at least when we've seen a head inside of a helmet. So what if it's like, they originally were all on a planet, Superman style, something happened, they all had to evacuate. He's the only one that really made it out for some reason, like he rescued Shiki. for whatever reason, like, you know, we get more lore obviously in Shiki and whatnot, but like say Shiki's kind of like that Superman style where it's like, you know, the last survivor, like true survivor, because if Ziggy got hurt, it would make sense obviously why he's in the state he's in. Maybe after that he made the Dark Stars, I don't know, or not the Dark Stars, the Four Shining Stars. There's obviously questions there. That's one of the bigger mysteries. Obviously not as important as the who, you know, stuff around Captain Connor mysteries, but still big mysteries. There was also the stuff with Justice. I think that actually made a lot of sense. Like literally the name, he wants justice. He doesn't just want to kill her. He wants to bring her to trial too, which I thought was pretty cool. I like that. I've mentioned before, Justice is like been weird because like he was one of the characters that was shown at the preview of Eden Zero, you know, way back before it even came out. And he hasn't done a ton in this series. We've only really seen him in a couple spots and like some skirmishes. But I think this was a really good character bit. I think this did some good stuff for us understanding like his mindset. If even though obviously he wants to kill Elsie, he wants his revenge, he still thinks that like she should go through a fair trial, you know, confess everything that she's done, as he says, atone for her sins and her crimes. And then after that, he'll kill her. Which, again, I like him a little bit more from that. And obviously, like, he's not up there with, like, Sieg and Jalal. But still, this improved his character, which I liked. And then, depending on, like, how far he goes, like, maybe this will be the arc, considering that, you know, he's in Lendar and maybe he'll die here. But this was at least, like, a good step. This was something that I think improved him. And they're, like, having just kind of a conversation between, like, stuff with Ziggy. And like she's saying, like, you know, you're gonna really kind of like leave and let Ziggy just kind of do his thing, but he confirms that Cure, Eraser, and Feather are on their way. I don't really care too much about Feather because like Feather's like a support that doesn't seem that interesting to watch go around. She gives like the cool future sight, but like outside of that, like she doesn't seem too interesting. Cure, I'm very intrigued by. I'm guessing he's gonna be a healer just by the name. And then Eraser, I really want to find out more about Eraser's ether gear because this is really interesting, but we don't really know about it, like know anything about it. And it's one of those abilities that's like really OP, but it's left in a state that we don't know about it. So it just seems godlike because we have no idea of the limitations and like the, you know, any of like the areas and weaknesses of it. We only really know that he can like erase things through like, you know, broken, I guess, erasing powers, putting white over stuff out in space. And then like the whole thing with like Feather, I get, or not Feather, Holy, like Justice confirmed that like Holy didn't betray them, which I thought was cool because like she's got her own thing. It would have been unfortunate if she just backstabbed them right away. But there was a point where they were talking about Ziggy, and she was saying that like, oh, you know, Ziggy taught me if I don't kill my opponent at the right time, I'm gonna regret it. But I felt that part of him still in there. I'm just like, you gotta put him down. You gotta just kind of end it. Like it's too much. Like, I can understand, obviously, like, her wanting to do what she can for Ziggy and stuff, but, like, where he's at now, he's too far gone, and it's just, like, it would be more of a service for him to just put him down, because, like, now he's just murdering people in mass, and, like, if you're going off of the previous Ziggy, like, you know that he wouldn't want that, and he wouldn't want, like, the state he's in to be where he's at. Again, we don't know, like, the more in-depth stuff about, like, Ziggy, who's the real Ziggy, what caused what to, you know, go the directions that it has, even in the past, for the good Ziggy, or what obviously set him back into the bad Ziggy. But it's like, if the thing you're going off of is the good Ziggy, just end him. Like, he's so far gone, and I don't really think that he's in a spot where even if they fixed him, they could really just bring him back. Like, he's done so much. So I don't think that's a good idea. And then we get back to the Clown and Rebecca fight. And granted, I want so bad for the Clown and Rebecca fight to be a more serious fight. It doesn't have to be like some dark edge-to-edge match. I just want it to be like a fight you can look at and be like, it was an actual fight. I don't want it to be, I want it to be like a step above like the Britney fight where it's like, she won, but she won through like a sillier means, but like one that made sense. I would really like her to have an actual fight and like Rebecca to win through her actual combat abilities. Because it's not like she's like some crazy fighter. Like her abilities aren't based in like raw power or durability. It's like speed, and then as we see now, balance, which I actually really like. I really like that her overdrive gave her that balance ability. I thought that was really cool. It makes sense with the whole cat aspect, but I think it does a lot for her as like a character who's all based around running and, you know, landing kicks. Because then, you know, in a scenario like this where you literally just have a rope, it's like whatever for it. She's able just to kind of run along it. I didn't like the part where she grabbed it with her tail, because that just made me feel like the overdrive, like going into overdrive for something super easy like that. But I did like the whole balance aspect. I thought that was a really cool touch. There's like one thing about overdrive that's been really weird is like overdrives aren't like the thing. It's the obvious comparison is like Dragon Force, but overdrive seems way more like it seems way more like just selective to the type, whereas Dragon Force is like an overall kind of power up, and they have like their own perks for types, but for the most part, you're getting this massive stat increase, physical capabilities, and like potency to whatever your attribute is. Whereas like Overdrive seems to depend way more on like what the ability is, because Rebecca doesn't seem that much stronger, but I imagine that she has like the obvious things like she'd be able to use her ether gear and like the abilities way more flexibly. Obviously, she gained this balance ability on top of that. She has a tail to manipulate. I would wonder I wonder what kind of like attack she has though, like what she can really do other than kicks, because like the kicks are fine, but like what does she really have outside of that? What she can do? What can she like do to defeat him? Because like she doesn't have obviously Happy Bot for her guns, but I mean I don't think she really needs it. If she's got Overdrive, I don't think she should require to have her guns for it. I think that should be a bonus, kind of like Wise's Arsenal suit. Like she should be fully capable to defeat an opponent by herself. And we even get in this, like, Clown is, like, making fun of her for being weak, and she's like, I don't really care, like, as long as I'm strong enough, to help my friends, that's good enough for me, which I found respectable and enjoyable. But she goes and kicks him, he lands, I thought was pretty sick, because, again, I do not want him to, I don't want him to, like, end up being beaten, like, easily. I don't want him to kind of, like, look, even though his name is Clown, and he's literally, like, a robot clown, I don't want him to be a character who is a clown. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't want him to be too goofy to where he seems more like a gag character than a serious fight. Because he's supposed to be the death for them, so like he should be serious. There was a whole bit with like Couchpo and Labilia, and like a video where Rebecca is kind of like pretty much announcing a hiatus to her fans. I'm very curious as to what Labilia is gonna really do. I don't think she's gonna die. I'm guessing this is where she's gonna hurt her legs, because like the first picture of her we ever got, like she has like the mechanical legs, or at least like ironclad legs. Maybe this is where they get hurt here. And I think that would be like a cool parallel if like part of the point where she's like trying to help Rebecca, she ends up like pretty much getting screwed over in the way that Rebecca is, benefits. And then the last bit is like he ends up snapping his fingers, the rope disappears, and he makes like a ring of fire that like she's now stuck in. I feel like the ring of fire thing is not that threatening, I feel, but maybe like it is for Rebecca, because like for her ether gear, like I assume Overdrive, like she gets a general stat boost. To the amount, who knows? I imagine it depends on the ability. Like Shiki, which is way more of a direct combat ability, it having a bigger boost, or Homura's makes sense. Whereas like Rebecca's, who seems way more utility and speed based, not being like a huge defensive boost, I'd be all right with that. I think that would also make sense. So for here, like, rings of fire, whereas like Shiki obviously getting hit by a fire attack from Wizard that he was able to overcome when he went into Overdrive. Her, like, with this fire, I think it aligns more like her being worried about it if she doesn't have like she doesn't have like, shown in battle character durability. Like she can still get burnt by the fire here. Again, understandably so. My question is like, one, what is Clown's like exact ability? Is he able just to control this like circus tent and like everything in it? And two, like what is Rebecca really gonna do to kind of like get around this? I mean, I imagine she could literally just jump over, maybe time jump under. It doesn't seem that threatening. I imagine the surprise is dangerous, but like it shouldn't be that hard for her to get out of it, and I assume it won't be that hard for her to avoid it, considering she's literally a speed-based character. And on top of that, like we know that her balance thing, she could probably move around this whole entire circus tent like a cat, like jumping off of stuff, pole vaulting off of like barely a foothold, and just kind of like leaping all over the place. This might be where we see that. I think that'd be really cool if we like just get that like display of Rebecca where it's just she's all over the place, and it's like you can't catch her, not because like not just directly speed, but because of the whole cat equilibrium, the balance stuff makes it so like she can pretty much just stand anywhere. Like as long as she can kind of have that like get like tiptoed onto a spot, she's good. I think that would be really cool for her, because it would show her value without having to make her like a power fighter or anything crazy. If it's like it really shows off the benefits and the strongest suit of Cat Leaper, especially because I think the combination of the speed and the balance would really work in that. And then somebody like Clown, if this whole thing is manipulating the area, if he's not able to manipulate what he wants in time, then obviously that would pretty much be the point where Rebecca would just have to look for a win condition. But anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, but from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. And that, appreciate you guys subscribe, and thank you for listening. Bye.